I hope it touched you too. Because it's about being touched. It's about awakening our feelings. Most important thing about us is really our deep feelings about things. It's important for us to know everything else, but you need to know about your own feelings inside. That really directs your lives, our lives, my life. It directs them sometimes much more deeply than we're aware of. And if we're not healed, then it's not what we really need. And it can be a lifelong journey, but let's get there. And my wonderful thing is this is where I get there. Y'all are my wonderful community, and I appreciate y'all very much. I appreciate you being here this morning. But the title this morning is, What Do I Look For in a Partner? Well, we had kind of fun with that title a bit when Marcia was telling you last week what I was going to talk about. It was fun. But what does it mean? What does it mean? What we're talking about today is partnering new beginnings. Well, I understand the new beginnings very easily. We're revitalizing our group. We're trying to move forward. But why are we doing all that? And to me, the answer to the beginning part of that is so easy. I don't have any place else to go. This is my group. I don't really fit in anywhere else in society, in a church type setting. I really don't fit in anywhere else. And I don't want to put other groups down. They are doing a great service for the people who do fit into their particular groups. And everybody is out there looking for that, for the group they fit in. And when I first, 25 years ago, walked into the services of then the Permian Church of Religious Science, and we were at the community theater, I felt at home. And I think lots of us have felt that sort of feeling when we've come into Centers for Spiritual Living, we call it now, into a religious science setting. There's a feeling of home. There is a sense that I have a place I belong, a place I do fit in. So it's important to me really at that level to start with. And then the other thing is everything I've learned since I've been here. My life, I believe, is very, very different today than where I was headed before I found this. And I was headed in a direction, but I didn't have the positive message that we get through religious science. We don't get that deep connection that I was talking about in the meditation. I didn't get that anywhere else until I got here. I had a fairly decent little foundation built under me that helped me understand what this is really all about. And I'm really appreciative of the time that I had spent reading with a friend that headed us this way. But it was when I got here that I hear the message of love. I hear the message of connectedness, of unity, that there is spirit out there. There is that essence. There is that intelligence. There is that wisdom out there in the universe. And it is us. We are that intimate with that whole process. And I wasn't getting that from anything else, and I did get that here. But to me, that's the foundation of healing. The foundation of healing is understanding, first of all, there's not a hell. Most religious groups try to frighten people in. And that's not a positive message. There's nothing to be afraid of. So, and that's an important message to have. I don't think you can really frighten people into heaven, because I don't see it as a place either. I know it is really here right now. And it's my choice to have it. It's also my choice, and I made the other choice too of having hell in my life for a while too. So it's a thing we experience here and now. And I choose the other. I choose a heavenly kind of experience where there's harmony and peace, and where I get to experience that with most of the people around me. There's still some nice challenges out there for me, and that's really important because my challenges help me grow. They really help me grow because they make me take a look at myself. We were in our book study this morning. It was all about how do we affect others, being aware of our effect on other people. And the reason that's so important, that's the first indication back to you that maybe there's something I want to work on in me. I have to own that myself when I see my reaction to other people. And it's kind of complicated sometimes because they have their own agendas and their own problems and their own pain in their life. But they're all trying to tell me something. So if I'll pay attention and pick out the part I need to know, which is a little tricky sometimes, the part I need to know, then I can heal the injuries inside myself. The problem is nobody can do it for you. That's the real problem. And that's also why it's so important that we have a community to work with. You can't really do this stuff by yourself. I tried that. And it's really a dead-end place because you've got to get to the place where you know it's in here. And if you're not with others, then it's easy to say, like I used to say, it's out there. All the world's problems are out there. No, all my world's problems are in here. And it is my reaction to everything. And my reaction to everything has to do with all the stuff that came before me. All the pain that I have is not out there. All the pain you have is in here. And that's a big truth that we talk about here. But that is the most empowering thing you can know. That out there is too big at times. It's too awesome. There's too many people out there who could be and are sometimes causing me pain, I think. But that's wrong thinking. So when I turn it inward, I can work with this because I've learned the tools here. I've learned the tools here to work with all of this inside myself. That's why this is important. That's why our community needs us as much as we need them. Because we have the philosophy that really works for me, and it really would work for a lot of people in our community too that are ready for it. So we need to be that beacon on the hill, this little light of mine shining. That's us. And that's the truth. That's our truth. And we need to be shining and need to be carrying our truth with us everywhere into our community. And sometimes that's a little hard to want to talk to people. We see our community as our very fundamental place. And it has some of that in it. But not everybody is. And there's a lot of people like Jackie who was ready to hear it. And she was very, very fortunate that Timmy finally got the courage up to say to her, well, there's a place you might think about going. And it makes a difference in people's lives. It makes a difference in your life. And it can so much make a healing difference in lots of people's lives. And we have said for many years, inappropriately too, said, we're the best kept secret. Well, as long as that's our consciousness, we're keeping that secret. We need to be the best known philosophy. We need to not be any kind of secret to anybody. Our community, our world needs the love we talk about. They need the intimacy we talk about. They need the healing. They need to know who they really are. They need to know that there's nothing to be afraid of. They need to know that how powerful they are, just like we are. You are very, very powerful. You are a creator. I am a creator. It's the way God made us. And what can we do with that creative ability? We can make a better world. And how do we do that? Partnering. We often think of partnering, I do, when I first started working on this a couple of weeks ago. I see partnering, first of all, mostly in business. I know people who come together and partner up to make a business. That has happened through all time. A lot of groups who are not doing well together merge together so that, and I drive a little car that's an example of that, Mercedes-Benz. There was a group called Mercedes, and they were making cars, and then there was Benz, and they got together, and they were successful together. They made a successful partnership. And it happens all the time. And business world today is beginning to understand that even more so. What do they call the people that work at Walmart? They don't call them employees. They call them associates. Same at Starbucks. They understand that too. When you work at Starbucks, you're not an employee. You're an associate. And what they're trying to do, I believe, what they're trying to do is ownership. Because owners work harder than employees do. Owners are more responsible. Owners are more responsible and more responsive to their customers. So they're using that idea. And we're using that idea too, and we need to know what we're talking about. What we want to do, and as we bring new people in too, we want to give everybody ownership of this process. Why? Because you'll think deeper about it. If you own it, you'll use it. You'll be more responsive to it. And too often we've talked about we're a church and you're the members. Well, that's almost like you work for Walmart and you're just an employee. Employees don't get near as much out of their jobs as evidently associates do. I don't know if the trick is really working at Walmart as well as it seems to work better at Starbucks, because there has to be something purposeful underneath. You can't just use empty, hollow words, because that ends up with people recognizing that we know what's going on. We all do. So, but what we invite, and we're inviting everybody that comes here, is to be a part of the ownership of this process. Because it only works when we work it. I don't know about you, but I forget once in a while to work this process. My good old human nature, I assume. But I'll forget. I'll get on a tirade about something that's going on, or some difficult person I'm dealing with, or some difficult situation, and I forget, they're trying to tell me something about me that I can work on. Your life is really how you react to the things around you. Your life is how you react to that happens around you, which gives you control of your life, doesn't it? If it's an inward thing I'm dealing with, I can deal with it. And I've seen it change people outside me too. And if they don't change, sometimes I change by moving away from them. We talked about that a little bit in book study too. If you've got a toxic friend, I encourage you to work with them all you can, but you will know the time when it's time to let them go. Some people will not change. They will not let go of that idea. It's all out there and it's all their fault. My dad was one of them. I've talked about him many a time. He was one of them. It's their fault. And his life never changed, and he lived a really quite miserable life. And he was a wonderful example of me of what not to do. Of course, I didn't have any background. I didn't know what to do. And when I get here, I learned so much about what to do instead of all that other stuff. I learned to take responsibility for myself. Responsibility for what's happening around me. And gosh, you can change. You can actually change your life. Ernest was right. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. And what we're doing here is learning how to use it. Because you deserve a good, happy life. The book study we're doing this morning, I choose happiness. It's a decision that you make. It's a choice that you make. If you don't, you live by default. Everybody's bought a computer. Has everybody in here got a computer? How does it come? It comes in a default arrangement, and it's just like every other one out there, and it's subject to everything else out there. And you slowly make it yours. Tommy has a wonderful background on hers. I haven't exactly figured out what her home page has on it at the picture. I think it's volcanoes or something, but it's very interesting to look at. She chose that to be what she looks at on her computer. So she's made the computer her own. And when I make changes in it and I put them in Dropbox, it says, Tommy's computer did this. It tells you who makes the changes. It says, Tommy's computer did this. So she has moved beyond the generic. And she's done that in our computer. But we've got to do that in our lives. We've got to move beyond the generic in our lives.